Good afternoon and namaste. I think it's good to see so many people back into the exhibition and the conferences. I think we have a wonderful panel here, and you'll soon learn about it. I thought I'll just kind of, with your permission, start with a small anecdote on stone, paper, scissor, right? And I think and I'm just going to link it to the panel after that. I think the last few months, I've had an experience of an Udupi hotel in Mumbai, which really completely pivoted from doing a limited thali into an unlimited thali. I'm talking of A. Rama Nayak. And I think to me that was, and I think he had absolutely no hang-ups about moving completely from a 120 rupee thali to a 250 rupee unlimited thali. And that outlet has been running so well for the X number of years. So that to me represented some properties of things which don't change, the stone. I think I came across another entrepreneur in my interaction, a young lady called Richa, who's setting up a student fund, a venture capital fund for students. And to me, it was all about absorbing new experiences. That was really paper. And then I met a girl in a village called Lunia Khedi near Indore, where I'd just gone along with some musicians there. And I realized that there's a young girl called Pooja who can barely speak English, but wanted to speak English. She said, I want to become an English teacher. And that to me was a scissor, the tikhi nazar jo thi. And for me, all of them represented some stages of leadership, which they all bring to the table. And I thought it was also a lot of fun. So I'm using the stone, paper, scissor analogy to really introduce all of you. I'm not going to be talking individually about all of you, but really going to jump into the whole discussion. I think what you have here is, I was amazed at the diversity of people. And I don't know when Nakul and Shivani are not there, but this typically will take 5 hours as a session, but we don't have that liberty, right? So we're going to keep it short. So from the preamble, I think what we have here is a set of people who really built in businesses, who've really seen a lot of struggle, who've seen a lot of challenges, but I guess they've never lost their smiles. We thought breaking convention, that was the subject which we had. When we said if it's really about breaking convention, then I think each of them play two roles of creating something at some point of time and destroying something, especially in their own way of personal leadership. So I thought, let me pull out on these two themes and get everyone to talk about it. And I'm going to possibly try and bring some aspect of leadership from each one of them. So Shibu, maybe I'll start with you for no reason except that you're farthest away from me. I think you always, and I found your statement a little audacious when you said that organized trade is still underpenetrated, and that's the time when we were actually counting our EBITDAs and PATs, and you made that statement. So, and then you went about explaining how this world can be a better place with community around it. I think you've done a fantastic job. Each one of us have been touched by Lulu sometime or the other. I want to know what really goes behind. What is that whole piece of community? And some of the inputs I got in the green room there, but I think the audience would love to hear from you directly. What's the create energy which you brought in while building Lulu? Can we get a mic there, please?
Hello. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Shiv, for the introduction. So basically, 35-year-old company running 250 hypermarkets in the GCC. It's all about close to 1.2 million customers visit our stores across GCC. So how do we manage to do it is obviously the fact that 80% of the Indians who stay there visit our stores because we manage to bring them everything in the GCC from India. And also what we do is we manage to also bring them all the best producers from all our 32 offices which are based across the globe. So that's the way we've created a community. And what we believe also is that to get involved with them, to ensure that we listen to them, to ensure that we please them with the experience what they get in our hypermarkets. Coming back to the shopping malls, again, when we did our Kochi shopping mall, everyone questioned us, why are we doing a 1.75 million square feet shopping mall in Kochi when million square feet was only working in the metros. And we really showed the world in the last 10 years that today also Kochi mall is one of the most highest trading density 3D per square feet mall in the country is because of the fact of this community we have created. Our mall during the COVID times also used to receive a footfall of around 8,000 people just for visiting our hypermarket. And I'm sure for many people who have visited our hypermarkets, you really understand how do we ensure that's possible. How do we ensure that the large food courts, how do we, this is possible due to the large food courts because you get the space. This is possible due to the large aisles which we provide. This is possible because of the large fun areas we create. Now, all this is created around the fact that we believe that people want good places to go and hang around. People want to ensure that they get a place where they can spend their quality time. It's a mix of our team which curates this environment in the mall according to the season with respect to the marketing vision which they create, with respect to the activities they do, and with respect to listening to consumers and providing what they want with respect to the best in categories across. If that is created, then we always know with respect to our success in Lulu that consumers will stick with you. And that was the reason why consumers stuck with us during the COVID time. In spite of the fact that there was a lockdown, 8,000 people used to visit our hypermarket and shop with us. And post that, the moment the mall opened, we were always back. And across the country, malls are back. I was throwing that, and now the real hero is also social media. And someone rightly said that in social media, most of the companies are spending 80% of the marketing spend. Everything is being curated every day. Now in the shopping mall of ours, there's a photographer, there's an entire team in our marketing which is built in. Earlier, this was not the phenomena. Now we have a photographer, we have a videographer, we have a content creating team which is there, who is moving across the mall, creating small reels, uploading small reels and uploading. Consumers are looking at it, consumers are coming down and buying. This is a new world. This is a new era. Someone said metaverse is the next. Yes, this is going to be the new. Everything has to be everyone has to think out of the box, create content for the consumers and keep it. We have a season of Onam coming in. If for the last 1 month, this content has been created, we are keeping people on the edge, talking about what is there for Onam for them. This has built our community. We've done just now that in Lucknow. I was talking to my team yesterday, and from Bihar, we have consumers coming in a 2-day trip by bus to our mall in Lucknow. One day is Lulu Mall Lucknow, one day is Lucknow visit. How did this happen? It's because that the largest of the property, 2.1 million square feet, built on a ground+1, with creating everything in ensuring that all the category killers are present in the mall, ensuring that there is the space for people to come and spend time. There is the space for people to see and talk about it. And through social media today drives any message across. We ensure that we listen to our community, we ensure that the community is created, and we ensure that the community stays with us. We've done that in GCC, and now that we are doing it across the country. We realize that if we create this community and this opportunity is available across the country today, and that's one reason we felt that if we can manage to create these experiences, there is this possibility across all the 28 states in the country.
Thank you. So I think I picked up one word which is your creating anticipation as well. And hence the family from Bihar who comes down and shops. So thank you a lot, and we'll come back to this point later. Sitaram, I think we always, I heard someone say as you entered the room saying roti kapda makan was the most important thing. I think Amitabh mentioned it somewhere. And I think as in the words, the makan is always the last thing which comes into this list as well. And I think you've been trying to stay there, grow the category, be there, build retail. Now we do see some new interest coming in. But what is the secret sauce which you have been chasing, and what are the challenges? And if you can give us a glimpse into saying what does a typical day look at in your office when you're kind of going on this whole space to create excitement around home buying and home retail. So happy to hear you.
Thank you, Sita. Home is not the last anymore, or it's the least, whatever we call it.
My job is to provoke you.
So it was the last, or it is the last. It is no more the least, so that's what I would like to start as. So it's become the most preferred category now. I think if you see the ecosystem which has happened in the last 1.5, 2 years, or just the pre-COVID, a lot of international retailers have coming into the country. To name some retailers like IKEA, Williams Sonoma, Pottery Barn, West Elm. So a lot of retailers are coming into the country. So I think that's very clearly shows the capability or the potential of the category. The second is there's a lot of D2C brands which are, coming into the segment which were nowhere heard about in the past. So that's something which is also shows how the category is becoming important. Third is the B2C retailers who are already there, going on an expansion spree. So I think overall, if you put it up together between the international D2C and the B2C players, I think it clearly shows that it's no more a last and it's least anymore. So it's like a preferred category for the customer. From a day-to-day point of view, I think the whole journey for the last 15, 17 years in Home Center is all about understanding consumer. The biggest area that we looked at is, rather than offering a category or a product, how do you create a solution to the consumer? I think many of you, if you have visited our stores, it's all a planogram, it's all solution-based provided merchandise. So if I just take a small example, if you have to go to a section of bakeware in the stores, so you do right from preparation to cooking to serving. So you give an end-to-end solution rather than just giving 4 SKUs of the bakeware. So I think that's what we do in our office day to day. We try to understand the consumer journey. We do a lot of CRM data analytics to understand, speak with a lot of women customers, because that's so core-centric for us. I think that's the typical journey that we do. Some of the challenges that we still face is though it's at the market is moving at a very organized space. I think the challenge still lies in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 segment, where the other segments like food or apparel is growing faster in the Tier 2, Tier 3. I think home is a little bit laggard in that space. Definitely it needs some more time because I think it's still mostly unorganized as well as it's also a price-sensitive market for the home. So otherwise the opportunity is huge. I think the big opportunity what I see is it's a lot of awareness on the category. Moving from an unorganized segment to an organized segment, I think that's where you see a lot of opportunity going forward.
Okay, thank you. Hence for them, I'm going to say makan, roti and kapda. Yeah? Okay, Aakash, I think, and I'm just going to quote you here. You said the Indian retail market is, sorry. You said the focus is going to be back on books and we're going to be a books first brand catering to the real reader, right? I think aaj ki duniya mein there's podcasts and there is streaming and there's OTT and you really stuck your neck out for that. Yeah? And you also said that people who have to work with you have to be passionate about books. So I want to tell the audience what's the kind of magic which happens behind. And suppose I don't read books, will you still give me a job?
So good afternoon and thank you for that question. So I represent Crossword Bookstores. We're a 30-year-old brand and we currently have 88 stores all across India. So, a lot of people have that apprehension that do people read, in this world of podcasts and whatnot, OTT and all of that. But I think if you look at any of the reports, whether it's the Nielsen reports or any of the studies, reading is just going up and up throughout the world and is the same in India. So you walk into any of our stores in the weekend and you'll be surprised to see this, the young adults thronging the stores, and so people are reading books. So sure. I'd like to establish that first, that that's the whole reason why we are growing. And so our philosophy is all about that we want to be the books first brand. That's what the quote
yes.
You mentioned. So we wanted to go back to the core of Crossword, which is really books. We are passionate about books. And our stores are now being made in such a way where the range, of course, we cannot compete with the range what you can get on Amazon. But what we have is curation and recommendation. And the big one for us is the in-store experience, which you cannot get online. So I think we've kind of cracked that piece well. And consumers are liking that. And with that, of course, it has to be a sound business model. So I come from an entrepreneurship background. So we try to merge this whole learning of an entrepreneurial system and a typical corporate system. So our earlier parent company was Shopper Stop.
Yep.
Very corporate, right? So we took the best learnings from that. We took the best learnings from our entrepreneurial journey and kind of combined it together to make sure that we have a sound business model to scale up. And to answer your question, do you need to read to be part of the Crossword team? Though we would like that, you don't necessarily need to read. But yes, you need to be passionate about books. You need to champion books. That's a requirement, yes.
Okay, and so does it mean, as a follow-up question to what both Shibu and Sitaram do, does curation also help me ease my discovery on books? Because you compared with another retailer which has lots and lots of books, right? Or dekho. So will curation also help me discover books better?
100%, because
that's sure.
When you go online, you're relying on a AI, right?
Sure.
Here there's also a trust factor with Crossword that they've curated. They've kind of helped you declutter.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what all curation is all about.
Sure, thanks. Tarun, we spoke about a recent movie which came into the cinema halls and many people nahi dekhe usko. I saw the movie with 18 other people. Right, so and I'm bringing this example to you because you handle JAYPORE, you also handle a lot of retail excellence within the AB group, Aditya Birla group. I think there's a choice today to say, let me wait for OTT. In 2 weeks anyway it's going to get released. Or let me not even see this movie. I have 2 other series which is there in my downloaded items. So how do you see this? And because you are in a very interesting retail space and you also seen a lot of it. I heard you talk passionately about retail. And I want to turn a twist around it. Suppose India is going to be one large country, and suppose we decide that there's going to be a university of retail for the world, and we want to set it up in India. What is your pitch going to be? How are you going to make it happen for the guys who are going to run that university?
Okay. Am I audible without the mic? Just a check. The last person. Is it okay? Or should I use mic? With the mic on? Without mic?
Yeah, with the mic.
With the mic. Thanks. I think it's I have gone past in the memory lane. You have just made me from a retail to a vice chancellor of a university. So thank you for making that. One large piece which I just want to touch upon. You talked about I represent Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited, which is present in 26 states of India through almost 3,500 stores and through 35,000 point of sale. So that's the diversity we are talking about. Now coming back to, you said you have seen one movie. I'm not a movie buff. I would not see that movie in any of the platform. That's a separate case. So content becomes a important factor. When you talk about India as an opportunity, there is a tectonic shift post-pandemic. And I'll tell you, and I just want to narrate you through one famous poet. So what is the actual change in the consumer behavior? One is, सारी धरा भी साथ दे तो कुछ और बात है, तुम जरा भी साथ दो तो कुछ और बात है, चलने को तो चल रहे हैं एक पांव पे भी हम, दूसरा अगर साथ दे तो कुछ और बात है. So this brotherhood feeling. Now talking about the opportunity which lies here, I just want to tell you, in the Hindi mythology there are Dashavatars in when we talk about Hindu religions. Similarly, in India, we have seen retail 4.0 avatar. I'll tell you from where it started. It started from unorganized in 1990. It ran till 2000. During that period, we have added $64 billion into the Indian retail market. Then the second Indian version 2.0 came in between 2000 to 2007, wherein we added $54 billion into the kitty. Then came the word called e-commerce, omni-channel, and e-commerce and largely online. From 2007 to 2020, This country has added $614 billion into the retail business. Now comes the last but not the most pivotal point, wherein from 2020 to 2030, we are going to add $685 billion in our business. Now, the catch is when you said how I can convince somebody to invest in the university business, guys, look at this. I have told you Retail Journey 4.0, which is very, very positive. This is the business which is going to employ 25 million people in India. It is contributing 10% to the GDP. Now we have many universities in India which is running into pharma, which is running into engineering, management and everything. But here it comes, an industry or a revolutionization in the industry where you can create a positive disruption by bringing in first of its kind university, which will talk about the customer centricity, which will talk about the digital transformation which we are looking at, which will talk about the physical retail, which will talk about the ways and means we can ride on this wave which is just ahead of us. And hence, I am requesting each and every individual, because this is one and noble cause. There is nobody in the industry, there is nobody in India, in the world, which talks about specifically about setting up a retail university. There is a wonderful opportunity. You are sitting right on the cusp of realizing that opportunity. You have 25 million people who are waiting to get into, and huge opportunity to capture. And hence, I would say it will be a fantastic proposition to set up a university which talks about positive disruption, which talks about democratization of the knowledge, and which talks about the customer centricity in the most pivotal manner. Will you invest? Thank you, Sadar.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for being such a lovely audience. He did a shero shairi and no one clapped for him. Huh? Please, let's give him a big hand here. We have an option, Abbas and Sagar and Vaibhav, that we can now dedicate the next session to just the shairi, if you're okay. Okay, Abbas, you mentioned that you run two formats, Timezone within your space. One, and I heard you say that you would like the kid to feel like a star every time they walk in. And later on, you also said you're about discovering the child in every adult, right? And then, of course, we heard about the phygital world and then how people are not going to like friction. And you're all about friction. You make people brush against each other. What are you doing about it? And second, I would like to know if I join, if it's my first day in your workplace, right? What is it that you're going to tell me? Because I will come with my doubts saying, look, kitne der tak chalenge? Will people move on to digital games? Will metaverse take over? Those are the conversations we hear. What will you tell me if it's my first day in your job?
So we quite face this challenge when we look at recruiting senior leadership, at least. People keep saying that, but arcades are dying, and all this is outdated, and online space is going to take over the whole thing. But the reality is that during the COVID time frame that we were sitting at home, parents were waiting for opportunities where the kids could go out and they could do physical activity. And one of our format, Play and Learn, actually inculcates that in the child, where we have tied up with the Singapore-based curriculum. They have curated courses. So our guys involved with the child, and they make them play in the environment where they're actually learning, but it's a full play setup. And the parent actually goes and gives a Midas test for the child, where we give out that, okay, these are the 8 smarts that your child is good at. And not every child is different. So someone is a picture smart, someone is a number smart, someone is, an engineer, and someone is a coder, etc. So, and based on those smart, we then curate a play curriculum for him. While he's playing, he's learning. So that's one. So every child, we believe, is a star, and we have something which the Midas test defined what kind of smart he is, and based on that, a curriculum is given. So, and then there is a facilitation where we give him a photograph and a certificate, etc., etc., etc. So that's for the younger child. And what also happens, we have seen is, in time zone centers, especially if you come on a Sunday, every parent has a child inside him. So the child is he's basically, you take, the child is an excuse to go to an FEC, but actually the parent who are playing. And when you swipe the game, we see that the child is on the one side and the parent starts throwing the ball and hitting the targets, etc., because they know they can do better. So we create centers which become reason for people to come to the mall. One, there is, otherwise, everything is available online. And second is, we create centers where families can come and bond with their children or with their friends, and dating couples, and after our office colleagues, etc., which I think there is a huge demand. Today, entertainment is no more passive. Nobody is interested to go and sit on a passive ride and just take a roller coaster round and come back. Today, generation is asking us about what kind of trampoline parks. They are asking about wall climbs. They are asking about the latest VR stuff. So the whole entertainment space is moving, and if we are not moving with that, we're going to be left behind. That's what we realized, and based on that, we've started creating centers which are more appealing to the young adults and the young at heart. That's the direction in which we move.
And possibly I'm going to borrow your words to say, if I'm your first joinee on the first day, you'll say, don't be left behind.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, thank you. Vaibhav, what is it about DroptheQ? When I'm standing to get my chai in Calcutta, or when I'm trying to get my meals in Mumbai, it's okay if I wait in the queue. So what is the magic you're creating there?
Thanks, hi, Sagar. So why do you want to wait in queues? For that matter, why do you want to make customers wait to place orders or to pay their bills in the queues? Does it make any sense for any of the businesses? What do you want? We want excellence. We want customer satisfaction. Everybody's talking about experience. The CX is the most important thing which we want to deliver. Companies over here, they're not selling things. They're not selling, I would say, dal makhnis if you talk about the restaurant. They're not selling, people are trying to sell experience. So how a small shop, mom and pop store is different from a large organized retail? Experience. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to enhance the customer experience at the food courts, and at the same time, increase the operational efficiency of the brand's outlets. Sagar is sitting over here. So we are operational at 10 food courts around pan-India, and we are adding 1 or 2 food courts every month. Sagar, you would be surprised to know we have served more than 2,400 orders across the food courts for Wow Momos in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, in Dehradun. So the thing is, the customer experience is the key, and that not only gives you a repeat customer to that particular area, it also is operational efficiencies. So if one POS can handle one customer at a time, with our MPOS or with our digital ordering services, and with the customer getting the meal served on the table. So that's what we have added. You get repeat orders. So we are increasing the experience, we are increasing operational efficiencies, and thereby helping the customer. So it's not at all right to stand in the queues. आप free के राशन की लाइन में नहीं खड़े होते, तो burger की लाइन में क्यों खड़ा होना? That's what we are trying to do.
Thank you. Guess the word. Someone in this audience is showing us a placard saying time out, but I'm not going to stop. So Sagar, I think you really you came in late. I'm sure you were just serving some momos outside to some people. I think he's one of the most humble leaders I've seen who's done so well for himself. And I think there were times when we would go to Guwahati to eat our momo, but you seem to have got the momos everywhere to everyone's home. I've been to 4 cities in the last 2 weeks. Everywhere the yellow stands out. So really tell us your journey. I'm sure it wouldn't have been an easy journey. And particularly saying, what are you really doing to increase the QSR space? Because you are now the poster boy, and you and your founders are the poster boys for many. So what are you really doing to increase that space for everyone?
I think one belief, अगर हमारे देश में एक चाय वाला प्रधानमंत्री बन सकता है, तो मोमो वाला क्या कर सकता है, right? But no, I mean I think you need to dream. You as an entrepreneur, always believe that your dream should be so big that they don't allow you to sleep. And I think we dreamt of creating an Indian QSR brand. You would always look at a Domino's, KFC, and you admire those brands. They are like role model brands, and you want to become like them. So if brands can come from abroad to India, why can't you create a homegrown brand that can go global? So it's like local going vocal, going global. But I personally feel that brands are built in the minds of the people. you have to create that impression. I was not a brand from US or from America, from America or from England where, I opened my first store and there's a huge 1 kilometer queue for people to come in. I had to, get eyeballs rolling, and that's why you see the flashy yellow color. So, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. You have to create that impression in the mind of the consumer with your packaging, with your T-shirt that the staff wears, with the way they smile. Innovate with the product, innovate with the packaging, innovate with the format. Today, I don't know why other F&B brands or retail brands cannot do sampling here, but I can do sampling here because the more and more people eat my products, the more and more, consumers I'm acquiring because we believe in our product. So I think you have to be visible everywhere, right from a kiosk to a small cart to a metro station to an airport to a food court to a restaurant. So you have to make it food of all times. I think you need to innovate in the format. Retail is all about detail, right? So it's about being in the right location at the right time. So I think innovate with the right format, innovate with the right food, innovate with the right cuisine. And I think, and I'll try and come back to the second thing that you mentioned, what do we do for QSR? I think the very fact that, we've believed if we can do it, why can't the rest do it? And today, whenever I speak, wherever I speak, my job is to motivate, to inspire, to get inspired, because just like how knowledge is two-way, inspiration is two ways. I come across so many entrepreneurs in the F&B space. I'm a part of the NRAI, which is the National Restaurant Association. I'm the vice president there. And I think one of the belief that has happened is that, we've been able to recognize the concept and deviate it from the brand. Earlier, whether it was a mall developer, whether it was a landlord, everyone felt jitna bada store, utna bada brand. But you can also create a brand from the smallest of smallest store size because, like I said, it's the perception that sells, it's the optics that sells. So I think it's about sharing. I believe that, the more knowledge you share, the more you get. So if I keep everything to myself, it's not about the idea, it's about the ideation. So I think I've been very vocal about sharing my learnings, getting my learnings from other people. And obviously, wherever you made a mistake earlier, before telling someone you're going wrong, I would think twice. Ki agar main usko bolunga, usko bura lag jayega, he'll think I'm a bad person. But today I tell them on the face because rather than, me saying after 2 years ki kash maine usse bola hota, usne ye mistake nahi kiya hota, ab abhi bol do. You might sound upfront, but you are telling him from your experience. And you will be happy to be proved wrong. So I think one thing I've learned is to give back, to interact, the emphasis of SOPs, of training, of learning and development. And, how do you break a business into different parts? How do you, share well to make wealth? I see so many entrepreneurs who are so concerned about valuation. But, the real business is to, share well to make that valuation. If your employees don't have ESOPs, if your employees don't have the will to create and the hunger to create, if they are not happy, they will not get happy customers. So I think it's about, walking the talk. You do it with them. Today I work with my team and that's why they look up to me, right? Had I been sitting in an air-conditioned office, I don't think they would have been, they would have said, yaar, ye to baat karta hai, ye to bolta hai, but karta nahi hai. So you have to be on the move. You have to be on action. And that's what I keep telling all the, all my fraternity people that, F&B in India can be created. Our population is the biggest strength. So if a KFC can do it, if a Domino's can do it, why can't an X or a Y or a Z not do it?
Thank you, thank you. I know we run out of time, a big round. And I know we said all these are the create energy which they got. We don't have time, but I'm going to ask just one word from each one of you on what did you destroy when you moved into your leadership space, right? What did you destroy within you? Just one word, because that's all the time we have. So maybe anyone can go in. Sagar, what is the one thing which you destroyed in you to kind of...
I felt everything could be wow, but more than that, I think multitasking. पहले हम सोचते थे कि हम हर समय एक ही चीज कर पाएंगे. And there was this big belief that Domino's is Domino's because it only sells pizza. But today we realize that it's about owning share of the stomach. So wow can be the brand, but wow Momo, wow China, wow chicken. It's about the cuisine and how you max it.
Right. But what did you destroy in you as a leader?
Me as a leader. I think maybe do it to show it. Rather, be an example.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Shibu. Or anyone?
Yeah, I'll take it. So I destroyed the fear of failure.
The fear of failure. Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah. Abbas?
Yeah. What I destroyed, and if I had to open a store 10 years back in a city like Amritsar, I would have gone with, second quality product, thinking that this is a tier 2 town. Let's only do this much. Let's only do that. What we did is, one of the city, Bhubaneswar, we went and said, no, what we do in a metro is what we're going to do here.
Okay.
And let's see what happens. And we were surprised. The revenues were more than what we used to do in metro.
So you didn't go for the same size.
Yes.
Okay, fine,
So
thanks. Sorry, I'm rushing you, but you didn't go for the same size.
fear of failure he took. Criticizing myself is one piece which I have stopped doing.
Super.
So
thank you, Tarun. Akash.
For us, I think we destroyed that belief that, you know, bookstores can't be scaled profitably.
Okay.
So that was we destroyed that belief.
Thank you. Sitaram?
And for me, it's like listen to learn, learn to listen.
Okay. Okay. Shibu?
Like everyone said, the fear which was created by COVID was completely destroyed, and we were very clear that the market is going to come back.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for rushing you, but I think, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for them. Yeah, thanks a lot.